Let's start with the question. Why can't dragons use other shouts? In Elder Scrolls Skyrim I played until level 35 or so and I encountered many dragons. But they all used either fire breath or frost breath. I wonder why they don't use other shouts such as slow time or unrelenting force. That will make battles more challenging. If I am learning words of power as Dragonborn, and those words are part of dragon's language, why they don't use it against me? Alduin for example uses his version of Storm Call and the shout for resurrecting dragons. But why is he the only one? I find odd that common dragons don't speak words of power in their own language. So how can we solve this? There are two possible answers. Answer 1. I'll have a crack at answering this one objectively. So let's look at the shouts available and see why a dragon may not possess the ability to use it. Yes, there is some speculation but it's based on the facts we have available. Some of these reasons are based on game restrictions, other based on what we know about the dragons. Animal allegiance. Dragons spend their lives flying and living on mountains. It's very unlikely they'd spend much time around animals or a whisper, Chekhov's gun. The player would never know they were using it. Plus they have an aerial view and can see almost everything. Battle fury. As soon as dragons start wielding swords, I'm sure they'll find a use for this one. Become ethereal. Dragons are destructive by nature. This shout prevents them from destroying anything. It would be illogical for them to use it. Bend will. This wouldn't work against the player, so would be immersion breaking. Call dragon. I imagine any dragon could call another, but there's no reason during the game for this to happen. Call of valor. Even if the dragons used this, I doubt the hero would obey. There's no evidence that the hero is forced onto Mundus. Instead the name suggests they are requested. Just like Odahviing isn't forced to answer your call. Clear skies. I imagine a dragon might enjoy an evening fly through the clear skies. However, since most flying dragons you encounter are hostile, they'll probably want to use the weather to their advantage. Cyclone. This would probably be too overpowered against the player and make the game overly difficult to disarm. This seems like it would have been very useful for dragons during the dragon war. They may be unable to comprehend it. Like Dragonrend. Since dragons cannot use weapons themselves. Dismay. You can't kill something if it's running in fear. And dragons aren't known for killing for sport. Dragon aspect. How can a dragon look more like a dragon? Dragonrend. As we see in game, dragons cannot comprehend this shout. Drain vitality. Higher level dragons do use this elemental fury. Dragons possess neither arms nor weapons. Fire breath. They do use this frost breath. They do use this ice form, since attacking enemies under the effects of ice form dispels the effect. It would be superfluous for dragons who just attack relentlessly with little regard for tactic. Kind's peace. It is not in a dragon's nature to be peaceful. Marked for death. The armor reduction is a bit useless against magical dragon attacks. Slow time. It would be great for dragons to use this, but I think it would be impossible to show when the perspective is someone's other than the player soul tier. Given the relation to souls, it likely that it was given to Durnavir by the ideal masters within the soul cairn. Storm Call. So Alduin uses his version of this. So why not other dragons? Well, we know that he jealously guards his access to Sovngarde from Skuldan, which happens to be the location of the third word. Seems that he guards that. Little benefit to summon Durnavir, same as call dragon. Why would we witness a dragon using this shout? There's no reason for it. Throw voice. Dragons are rather large and noisy. I don't think anyone would be fooled by this shout. Unrelenting force. Many Dragons can use this but prefer to use damaging shouts instead, as they are destructive by nature. And not particularly tactical. Whirlwind sprint. Dragons already move pretty quickly. I think this would have made battles overly long and boring. So, all of that being said, there are a few of those shouts that I think dragons would find useful outside of game restrictions, i.e. lore. Aura Whisper basically turns the dragon into a heat-seeking missile. Bend Will suits the dominant dragon's call dragon, if one dragon fancies a brawl, or if they need help after picking a fight with Braith. Clear Skies. When not in battle, I'm sure dragons would prefer a cloud-free sky cyclone, because, well, do you need a reason? Disarm would have been invaluable in the dragon war against men. Slow time would be very advantageous to a dragon. Whirlwind sprint, if some speed is good then more must be better. Answer 2. Speculation abounds. As mentioned in the comments, the dragons in the game were originally meant to have the unrelenting force shout as a power. But this was removed in favor of only being able to use more traditional powers, the breath shouts. A theory for this can be developed by looking at the storyline. When the player reads the Elder Scroll, he is teleported back in time to the end of the Dragon War, when Alduin was defeated. This led to the eventual defeat of all dragons, save Paarthurnax. However, Alduin was not defeated, he was simply pushed through time, to the present day. When he arrives, he is capable of summoning forth meteor storms, and even raising the dead. This is because from his perspective, he only vanished for a short period of time, he is still at the height of his power. The other dragons, however, have been dead for centuries. Dragons are believed to have a close affinity to magic. But, if left dead for long periods of time, it would make sense that much of their power has left them, and needs to be restored. It would then make sense why a handful of mere mortals would be able to kill one on a simple reconnaissance mission. This is further supported by the idea that while dragons fighting could be described as a heated debate, but I would argue that there would have to be some form of residual power involved in using a thumb, otherwise that Dragonborn would likely be killing a lot more people simply by sneezing violently. So, my belief is that dragons require some level of affinity with magic to be able to use the thumb to its full effect, which does require time and training. I hope these answers helped, and if they did, please drop a comment and subscribe.